ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शांति शांति शांति। नमस्कार my dear friend, this is video number 12 on Katha Upanishad. This video starts with verse number 2 of chapter 3 of part 2 of Katha Upanishad. Whatever there is, whatever there is, the whole universe vibrates because it has gone forth from Brahma, which exists as its ground. That Brahma is a great terror like a poised thunderbolt. Those who know it become immortal. Whatever, etc. The whole universe, otherwise inert, vibrates with life because it is a projection of Brahma, which is life itself. It is the reality of Brahma that makes everything in the universe appear real. It is the reality of the desert that imparts the appearance of reality to a mirage. Therefore, the existence of Brahma as the cause of the universe cannot be denied. Poised thunderbolt. The thunderbolt Vajra is the terrible weapon of Indra with which he killed Vritra, the king of the demons. At the sight of the master armed with a drawn sword, the servants unfailingly obey his commands. Likewise, the sun, the moon, the stars, and the planets obey the commands of Brahma without allowing themselves a moment's respite. It is the power of Brahma that controls the movements of the universe. How does the universe function? Through fear of Brahma? Verse number 3. From terror of Brahma, fire burns. From terror of it, the sun shines. From terror of it, Indra and Vayu and death, the fifth run. Indra, the king of the gods, Vayu, the god of wind, death, the god of death, run, perform their functions expeditiously. That fire, the sun, the senses, Indra, the wind, Vayu, and death perform their functions without the slightest deviation from law is the result of the stern control exercised over them by the Brahma, the Supreme Lord. Liberation follows the knowledge of Brahma. Verse number 4. If a man is able to realize Brahma here, before the falling asunder of his body, then he is liberated. If not, he is embodied again in the created worlds. According to non-dualistic Vedanta, the knowledge of Brahma is liberation. The soul is always free, illumined and pure. Maya or ignorance conceals its nature and conjures up the illusory notions of individuality, desires, actions, birth, death, rebirth, and the rest. When the ignorance is destroyed, it becomes aware of its true nature, of what it always is. The law of cause and effect functions in the world of becoming and not in the realm of pure being. One devoid of the knowledge of Brahma falls a victim of the ever-recurring cycle of birth and death. The clearest vision of Brahma is possible only in this life. Verse 5. As in a mirror, so in the buddhi, as in a dream, so in the world of the fathers, as in water, so Brahma is seen in the world of the Gandharvas, as in light and shade, so in the world of Brahma. As in a mirror, as one sees one's reflection clearly in a clean mirror, so one sees Brahma clearly in the Buddhi. In the Buddhi, that is to say, in the intellect purified by self control and contemplation. When the Buddhi has become clean like a stainless mirror, the ultimate conviction regarding the reality of Brahma is attainable only through such spiritual disciplines as discrimination, detachment, self control, and meditation. Brahma then becomes as tangible as a fruit lying on a man's palm. Knowledge of Brahma after death or in the various heavens is indistinct as in a dream. Dream experiences are generally vague and confused because they are the cumulative product of the desires and impressions of the waking state. The world of the fathers, the vision of Atma is indistinct in the world of the fathers since one is engrossed there in the enjoyment of the fruits of past karma. Souls go to this plane after death to experience the results of their actions on earth. As in water, the reflection of the body is indistinct in water, its limbs and various parts are not clearly defined. Gandharvas, a class of demigods regarded as the singers or musicians of heaven, light and shade. That is to say, in a very distinct manner, the world of Brahma, the highest plane in the relative universe, in Brahmaloka or the world of Brahma, one may get a very clear vision of Brahma, but that world is attained only by means of special sacrifice, worship, and knowledge. The drift of the text is that one should realize Atma here in this life. How is Atma realized and what is the good of its realization? Verse number 6. Having understood that the senses have their separate origin and that they are distinct from Atma, and also that their rising and setting belong to them alone, a wise man grieves no more. Senses, the organs of perception and action. Separate origin. According to Vedanta, the five organs of perception, namely the ears, the skin, the eyes, the tongue, and the nose, have been produced respectively from the sattva particles of the five elements, namely Akasha, space, Vayu, air, Tejas, fire, Ap, water, and Prithvi, earth. Likewise, the five organs of action, namely the organs of speech, the hands, the feet, and the two lower organs, have been produced respectively from the Rajasic element of space, air, fire, water, and earth. Therefore, the organs are entirely material in nature and are distinct from the self or pure consciousness. Rising and setting, activity and non-activity. The senses and the mind are active during the states of waking and dreaming, and they remain inactive during deep sleep. These changes are in no way related to Atma, which forever remains as their immutable witness. Pure consciousness always remains the same, therefore, the wise man never grieves. It has been said that Atma is distinct from the senses and that it is the inmost self of all, and further that it cannot be realized from outside. This idea is expressed in the following two verses. Beyond the senses is the mind, beyond the mind is the intellect, higher than the intellect is the great Atma, higher than the great Atma is the unmanifest great Atma, Hiranyagarbha, which is the totality of all minds. For the explanation of the various terms in the text, see beyond the unmanifest is the person all-pervading and imperceptible. Having realized him, the embodied self becomes liberated and attains immortality. The knower of Atma is free from ignorance while alive and after death attains immortality. If Atma is entirely imperceptible, then how can it be seen? Verse number 9. His form is not an object of vision, no one beholds him with the eye. One can know him when he is revealed by the intellect free from doubt and by constant meditation. Those who know this become immortal. His form, etc. Atma is the inmost consciousness by which are seen all the objects comprising not only the outer world but also one's own body, senses, mind and ego. These are perceived by Atma, which is the eternal subject. Consciousness is non-dual and indivisible. It is unaffected by the characteristics of matter. By reasoning in this way, one can infer the existence of Atma but cannot demonstrate it. Intellect, etc. The buddhi or intellect controls the modifications of the mind. Even when the aspirant withdraws his senses from their objects, the mind can dwell on them. It is the buddhi by which he can stop the distractions of the mind. In that buddhi, free from the slightest touch of doubt, is revealed Brahma but not as an object. Meditation. Through meditation, one acquires right understanding this, that is to say, the oneness of Brahma and Atma. It is seen that even among those who have heard Vedanta and appear to have understood its philosophy, there are some who do not have the actual experience of the oneness of Jiva and Brahma. This is the result of certain obstacles which can be removed only through the practice of yoga. This practice is now described. Verse number 10. When the five instruments of knowledge stand still together with the mind, and when the intellect does not move, that is called the supreme state. Stand still, etc. The five sense organs are withdrawn from their respective objects in the outer world, and the mind is controlled. The intellect also remains unmoving. The yogic disciplines are prescribed to acquire concentration. Mere listening to the instruction of the scriptures and reasoning about it do not remove the restlessness or the distraction of the mind. What is yoga? How is it practiced? Verse number 11. This, the firm control of the senses, is what is called yoga. One must then be vigilant, for yoga can be both beneficial and injurious. Yoga, it is characterized by detachment of the mind from material enjoyments and by communion with Atma, which is existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. Then, while practicing control of the sense organs, vigilant, that is to say, one should be watchful while practicing the discipline of yoga. Injurious, when yogic disciplines are not properly practiced, one may fall a victim to deep sleep, laziness, or other obstacles. The last part of the text may also mean that yoga can be both acquired and lost. If inadvertent, the aspirant may lose the spiritual result which he has acquired through self-control. Atma is very subtle and profound. Its existence cannot be realized through mere reasoning. All arguments in its favor can be met by equally strong ones against it. Therefore, according to Vedanta, the most convincing proof of Atma is direct experience and also the statement of the seers who have realized it. Verse number 12. Atma cannot be attained by speech, by the mind, or by the eye. How can it be realized in any other way than by the affirmation of him who says he is? Any other way, referring to non-believers who state that there exists no such thing as Atma, the cause of the universe, that the tangible universe is without a cause, and that ultimately it ends in void. Who say, etc. The gist of the text is that one should respect the teachings of the seers and accept their views about Atma as the ultimate cause of the universe. The following is adapted from Sankara's commentary. The statement of the Vedantist that the self is realized when through the practice of yoga the mind and the senses cease to function is challenged by the materialists. They say that a thing exists when it is perceived by the senses and that beyond the mind one sees nothing but void. Therefore, if Atma is beyond the senses and the mind, in reality it is non-existent. In reply, the Vedantists say that through Brahma, though Brahma is devoid of attributes and imperceptible to the senses, its existence can be inferred as the ground and ultimate cause of the universe. A tangible effect cannot disappear into a non-existent void. It only merges into something that also exists. For instance, when a pot which is an effect of clay is destroyed, it disappears into the clay. That into which the effect disappears must be an existent entity. The mirage ultimately disappears into the desert. A gross object disappears into its subtle one, and the latter into something which is subtler, and so on. Thus, if in order to find out the cause of an object one proceeds from a subtle to a subtler entity, one cannot but come to the conclusion that the ultimate cause must be an existing entity. That cause may be very subtle, but it exists nonetheless. Though with the disappearance of an object, its perceiving consciousness or buddhi also disappears, yet this phenomenon can take place only on the appearance of the consciousness of something else that exists. Further, no concept of existence or non-existence is possible without a perceiving consciousness. He who says that the ultimate reality is non-existence also admits the existence of a consciousness which is the witness of non-existence. If the universe has non-being for its cause, then the effect, the universe being the product of non-being, would itself have appeared as non-being. But one perceives the universe to be existent. Even an illusion is perceived to exist because it in, inheres in a real object. A pot made of clay is perceived as inseparable from the clay. Therefore, Atma, the cause of the universe, must be recognized as existent or real. Thus, one should discard the views of the heretics and accept the existence of Atma. Verse number 13. He is to be realized first as existence limited by upadhis and then in his true transcendental nature. Of these two aspects, Atma realized as existence leads the knower to the realization of his true nature. Existence, that is to say, as limited by the buddhi, the senses, and the rest, Brahma immanent in the universe, true transcendental nature, that is to say, free from any limitations. It is described in the scriptures as unchanging, beyond the law of cause and effect, and devoid of the notions of being and non-being. What is called the effect has no existence apart from the cause. Two aspects, that is to say, endowed with and free from upadhis or limitations. The aspirant should first realize Saguna Brahma or Brahma with attributes. He should meditate upon Atma as associated with the mind and its different manifestations. It is easy to conceive of Atma as associated with the Buddhi, the ego, and the rest. Gradually, the aspirant becomes capable of thinking of the higher aspect of Atma, which has been described as subject to no upadhi or condition, different from the known and higher than the unknown, and as invisible and incorporeal. Atma is the cause of everything, including the mind and the buddhi. The effect is in reality non different from the cause. What appear to differentiate the former from the latter, as in the case of the pot and the clay, are names and forms which are used for convenience of man's practical life. In reality, the pot is the same as the clay. The Vedantic mystics also state that Brahma or pure consciousness assumes a form in association with Maya. The devotee first beholds Brahma with form. Next, when he is eager to realize the absolute Brahma itself, removes as it were the veil of Upadhi and reveals to the devotee its all annihilating and all embracing formless nature. Thus, it is not solely the personal effort of the seeker that brings about this profound mystical experience. There is also divine grace. Desirelessness is the condition of immortality. So I conclude this video here. Next video number 13 will start with verse number 14 of chapter 3 of part 2 of Katha Upanishad. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Thanks a lot. Namaskar my dear friends.